Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric, actual play, tabletop, role playing live streams here for you on the internet. And hopefully you're excited. We are too, because tonight is sort of the season finale in as much as we have seasons for Symbaroum, which is the first system we started playing on this channel and kind of our flagship, I suppose. So we're quite excited about it. As usual, before I do anything promo-wise or introducing people, before I introduce anyone, let's introduce John, who is our stream manager.
I don't count as an anyone.
Yeah, you're nobody. So you're no one, as a man once yelled at me in a pub for no reason. John works away behind the scenes, moving around images and cams and moderating chat and all that sort of stuff. How are you tonight?
Say you've
John?
killed Chris.
I have destroyed Chris. I can see down below, but that's fine. How are you, John?
I'm fine. I'm slightly worried about what pubs you've been to, but
if it narrows it down for you, John, it was in Leeds. So, on that note, let's banish John back to the realm of elves and fairies, and let's talk about promo stuff. So there's a bunch of links down below. There's links to our Twitch and to our YouTube. You're watching this on one of them. Why not check out the other? There's links to our social media, to our Discord that you can join and talk to us about all things telling tales, all things role-playing. There's a link to our Patreon, where you can hand over some hard-earned cash and support us in return for some lovely treats. Things like character creation videos, of which one went up today. And I'm desperately trying to remember what system or thing it was actually for. Was it for a Call of Cthulhu one? We have so much Patreon content, I can't even remember which thing I made active this morning. So there we go. We also run 3 weekly role-playing campaigns, Monday through to Wednesday, all starting at 8 o'clock BST in the evening. On Mondays is Call of Cthulhu. On Tuesdays there is usually Vampire, but that's on going to be on a little break because we had a finale of that yesterday, and we'll have Blades in the Dark as an interim system coming soon. And Wednesday is usually Symbaroum, although obviously we have a finale of that tonight as well, and this will be returning in a couple of weeks with an interim system of Coriolis. Oh, that was a lot of information. Also, at the moment, fortnightly over on the Free League Publishing Twitch, we are running another series of Symbaroum called Fetters of Stone, which I have been reassured in our private chat was the character creation video that just went live this morning. That's a lot of fun, and it's great to be invited over onto the Free League Publishing channel and get to do some stuff over there, so check that out. The VODs for that are over on our YouTube. We also run monthly one-shots. There's a bunch of those over on our YouTube as VODs at the moment. McBorg, Fiasco, Troika, Alien. The next one will be on the 5th of June, Saturday the 5th of June, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, BST as they all are, and that will be The Expanse, being run by one of the players here, and I will tell you which one when he arrives on screen, damn it. I think that's all my promo. Good God, that was a lot. So let's crack on with some recaps and then get into this finale of Symbaroum and the finale of The Bell Tolls for Kastor. So first up, tonight we are going to introduce someone who I am stalling for as I try to remember my list of people. Oh, classic Matt intro tonight. It is Chris. Hello, Chris. Chris is our first player tonight. Chris plays Steo, our resident town guard / mercenary / traumatized veteran. And Chris, I can exclusively reveal, even though I think it's been said elsewhere by now, we'll be running our Expanse one-shot in 2 weeks' time. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
I'm excited and low-key terrified and just generally confused.
Yeah, definitely. So how did the previous session of Symbaroum, which was a couple of weeks ago now, because we missed a week last week, how did that start off?
Like all good mornings after the night before, it started off in jail. And we had been kind of coming to terms and meeting with the other denizens. The dwarfs were there, the friendly mage lady Pegida, and the good guard captain, and we were talking to them, and then we were kind of rudely interrupted by the big bad, who turned out to be Cagliostro, who kind of strode into the hall of the prison and gave us the kind of semi-traditional evil monologue, and kind of gave us a bit of information about what he was doing. Turns out he is a beast worshipper, and he has a plot to bring about a new age, he said, I believe, stroking the horns he now sports. So we humored that for a while, and he then took, was it the mason? The town mason was in the jail.
He did,
as well.
yeah. Mulando, the head mason of the town, yeah.
He then had him removed from the prison and taken upstairs with him, leaving us to our fate.
Absolutely, but fortunately, before long, some rescuers arrived. No, okay. I thought that was part of your recap. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was the end of my recap, because isn't the prison break next? Okay,
Cagliostro / rescuers was your official designation.
Okay, well, like the namesake, the rescuers, a small rodent was spotted with green eyes, suspiciously informing us that there may or may not be our good friend. I've forgotten her name.
Dada?
Dada, yes. Dada's not familiar, but she can possess things because she's of the witchy arts. Desperately trying to excavate a loose flagstone at the top end of the jail, the opposite end of the staircase to leave the jail. And we ended up doing a lot of distracting of the goblins while this rat did some sterling work. And then eventually, in burst the Church of the Many, or some of the members of the Church of the Many, who Steo hasn't met, but Chris has been super interested in, who turned out all to be very proficient and stabby. And we then proceeded to make a giant mess of the Goblin Guards. And
absolutely. Before we get onto that, because that's Mike's bit. Yes. Dada arrived along with the father of the Church of the Many, and also accompanied by the town treasurer, who you had discovered, Ardetta, who you discovered was actually not dead. And then a bit of a rumbling occurred, and let's bring on Mike to talk about that. Mike, who plays Father Antom, our resident Theurg, and do goodly child of Prios. Hi, Mike.
Oh yeah. So there was a fight, and we won the fight. And
cool. Let's bring on Sam. No, yeah. I mean, that is, I guess, the summary of the matter.
Pretty much. Yeah. There was a fight. The goblins were dispatched. Everyone was freed from. I think a decision was made that some of the people who weren't in a condition to fight would remain, or would kind of sneak out of the town hall building, and the rest of us would make our way upstairs to follow Cagliostro and maybe get this axe that we were looking for as well.
Absolutely. And to describe how the session ended, let's bring on Sam, who plays our resident changeling scout, Ascarai. Tell us all about everything that happened after that, Sam, in the game, not everything in general.
Well, there was a fight, and we won the fight. So,
yeah, that's good. That's good. No, it's terrible. Carry on.
So we went upstairs. We kind of emerged into the central room of the town hall. I think we got there without too much difficulty.
You did, yeah. It's like the upper floor. You managed to get up to the upper floor without much trouble.
And we saw a group of goblins, an ogre, and a kind of shady figure that we couldn't quite see on a kind of raised platform at one end of the room. So very quickly it became apparent that these goblins and the ogre were not very friendly. So we started fighting them along with our rescuers. Thanks for the assist in the recap, Boromir. And we were doing pretty good work, mostly winning. It slowly became. I think at some point during the fight, we managed to get a good look at the figure on the table, and he was someone we hadn't seen before, but he had a sword stuck through his head.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, a kind of sword stuck through the back and out the front. And I believe Dada was the one who first kind of saw him properly and called him by his name Grendel, indicating that this was the remains of the new town mayor.
Yeah. And he was still just writing something. He wasn't participating in the fight, at least at first, with this sword just through his head. And he, as Dada kind of approached him, I think she said something to him, and or tried to stop him writing, perhaps. And he just kind of lost it and attacked her. He nearly stabbed her with the sword that was through his own head, which didn't seem good. But I think we just about managed to prevent that and kind of finished him off, along with the ogre and the goblins eventually. No one really got too badly hurt. I think maybe Semmel took a few hits.
Semmel took a few hits, and Dada as well was quite badly banged up. And then generally, you all gathered as a group with the other kind of people who'd been involved in that final fight and walked yourself out of the town hall, now unguarded by the Blue Company and the town head, the captain of the town guard, Eliva, basically expressed that probably a couple of things needed doing now. First off, you needed to know someone needed to follow Cagliostro, who Melando told you in between pained breaths, having been beaten and tortured, that he'd given the directions to a mine that they wanted to go to a few hours out of town. But also the Blue Company needed dealing with, etc. And I think it was suggested broadly by her that Cagliostro and his crew were yours to deal with, and the bell tower perhaps for the town guard to deal with. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, they'd also taken the axe from the wall of
Yes.
the town hall.
They had indeed. So we are going to pick up more or less where we left off. And that is going to be outside that town hall, walking away and formulating your plans as to what happens next. As I said, Eliva had suggested that perhaps you need to go after Cagliostro because whatever he's doing in that mine can't be good. And she had suggested that the town watch would be responsible for trying to cleanse the city of Kastor from the Blue Company. I believe that the dwarves, the Buruk family, also were nodding and kind of looking very keen on the idea of joining in on the assault on the bell tower, as it is their kind of responsibility to look after. Is there any immediate follow up from you guys on this proposition?
I think we're all kind of walking away kind of in a group without anyone outside of the group. It's just us. Is Semmel with us, or is he staying back, isn't he?
I think Semmel and Dada will be kind of helping each other along because they're both a bit wounded and kind of probably a bit behind you. Urfons will be with you, however.
Okay, well, I suppose if we wanted to quit town, now's the perfect time to do it, but unless... I don't know, lads. I don't know. And are we going to let Semmel and Dada sit this one out? They look pretty beat up.
Yeah, I don't think that Semmel and Dada are in a fit state to join us for whatever comes next. And having said that, I think that there's one or two bumps and scrapes amongst us as well.
Yeah,
How safe
Irfon's actually looks pretty battered from his sort of flying spear down the stairs.
Yeah, I think unless we can get like 2 or 3 weeks off to recover, I think it's go in with what we've got, or don't go in. It's an option. We can skip town.
I think we've come too far now. Seems like whatever is going on here could be very bad, not just here, but even back at Thistlehold. If we don't do anything about it, who knows what it is they're exactly trying to do here? But this cult seems like bad news.
One of these days, Askrai, your can-do attitude will get us killed.
I wish.
Do we know how far? Sorry, do we know how far away this mine is?
A couple of hours, wasn't it? Based on the description. You're muted, Matt.
Melando said 3 hours walk.
Okay.
I don't think, unless we can find some of that cheating water you found last time, we go and ask the mages, see if they have anything, or the church. And Tom, can you call in some favors?
I could ask, yeah. Yeah, could have a look.
So, one thing I think I would like from all of you, because Eliva is currently discussing the logistics with the Baruch family, with a couple of guards who are walking the street and have kind of seen their guard captain in a fairly rough condition and wandered over. Pegida is sat nearby and saying and kind of contributing slightly to the discussion, while kind of also being kind of obviously not that far away from passing out. Belago, the sun priest, is also nearby, and they're kind of all talking together about the logistics of driving the Blue Company out of Castor. Nearby stands Tamilo as well, the priest of the Church of the Many. But can everyone please give me a cunning roll? Everyone is speaking and everyone is muted.
I made it. Rolled a 7. I needed 11.
Cool. I also made it. I got a 3 out of 10, I think.
Well then, it looks like all of you made it. In which case, all of you, shall we have a cheesy comedy action film moment where the three of you all look at each other at once and in unison all go, "Silver cheek."
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
If she can't heal us, we can probably rent her. Let's go find out what she's up to.
Eliva kind of wanders over to where you are and says, "We are making our plans, but I think you should leave the town as soon as possible. One of my guards says that Cagliostro and a number of his followers left by the north gate half an hour ago."
Yeah, we got the message, but we're not in great state, so we're going to quickly see if we can call in a favor.
All right then. Well, I just advise you to go as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're planning?
We'll be 10 minutes tops, and then we'll be out of your way and into God knows what is down that mine.
We're all returning to the watch building. We're going to see if we can't flush out any Blue Company who are there, and then we're going to form our plans there with any allies we can find.
Good luck, and try and get the bell tower as soon as you can, yeah?
That's the plan. She gives you a nod, and they all kind of walk off. Semel and Dada seem to be being guided towards the Sun Church by Father Belago. They really don't look in any fit state to be accompanying you.
What about Alphonse? Is he coming with us?
Alphonse is coming with you, yeah.
Right, so what I have... I got about 10 thaler to my name, gentlemen. We make a purse, might be able to hire some of the leg breakers.
I don't have too much more, though. We have that chest now, luckily.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're dipping into that until I've sold it for. I don't know. Is it cataclysmic enough
You're
for
planning
me
on selling the gold.
Yeah,
for
eventually.
more gold.
Yeah. I'm not planning on dipping into my retirement fund for one measly dragon prophecy, which is in character, by the way. But yeah, we'll go to the 12 and 2, was it? I keep getting the name wrong.
The 5 to 2.
5 to 2. Getting there.
Sure. Yeah, you wander along, just a casual, nice walk. You proceed to the 5 to 2 in the slum district. It's already open, even at this relatively early hour. People going in and out as if nothing is wrong. You go in; it's much the same as it was, dirty, fairly bare, and Silvercheek is already behind the counter of the bar area.
I'll walk up to her. Clearly, I am not looking in the best of like I'm on about half HP, so I'm looking a bit beat up.
Sure. She kind of glances up and sees the four of you approach and says, "Rough night."
Yeah, could get worse if we don't plan on a rough morning. We kind of chose our side based on what you were saying last time. I don't suppose any of your lads would be up for a quick job.
Well, why don't you give me the details?
There's a mine outside of town. There are some beast worshippers who want to do something unsavory in that mine. We need to stop them, otherwise this town is going to be probably conflagellated.
I'm asking this out of character. Are you planning to hire the leg breakers for you, not for the assault on the bell tower? Which is what
for the
Eleva was
bell
asking
tower.
I mean,
okay.
if you want to do that, it's your agency. But it was definitely you definitely got the sense that she was asking that they desperately needed help for this assault on this highly armed mercenary company.
Okay. Let me carry on and dig myself out of this hole I've not put myself
No,
into.
it's fine.
Askar will give Steo a look like, wait a minute.
Okay. Look, we're going to go to the mine, but we don't have very much money. The guard, however, the actual guard, not the Blue Company sellsword, they need someone to. They need legs and hands and weapons. They're going to take the bell tower back. We might need the bell tower to stop whatever's going to come out of that mine. Consider it a tip-off if you want.
Is this something Eleva is sorting out?
I think just about everyone who isn't under the pay of Cagliostro and his coup are now working together to retake the town.
Well, I don't know who Cagliostro is, but I'm willing to bet that my men's swords will stick him as good as any other. All right. Where is she now?
She is about to reclaim the guard tower, the guard barracks, from what's left of the Blue Company. And then I believe they're going to make their plans and assault the tower first.
All right. Well then, sounds like I should take a wander to the barracks and see what remuneration could be offered.
Yeah, good opportunity to make a bit of money. Hope we can find some uncut gems in the mine for our trouble.
All right. Thanks for the tip. She kind of wanders off to a back room and kind of indicates to a large barbarian man to kind of come along.
Well, that's about as good as we're going to do here. Will we make for the mines, I suppose? Unless Anton, you have a stack of priests ready to heal our wounds.
I mean, you can make all the medicus rolls you want, right?
Yeah, but that's per scene or per adventure?
Oh God, not per adventure. No, it's per day, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask how much time has passed because we were like underground, right? So I don't know if we.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's say that others was last night. So
Okay.
let's just you guys can go ahead and make medicus rolls on everyone. Haven't you got at least a couple of doses of the
I do, yeah.
magic Cryos water left?
Yeah.
Tears of the Dusk, is that what it's
Water of the
called?
Dusk?
Water of the Dusk.
Water of the Dusk, yeah.
Okay.
I've got 2 or 3 left. I've got a note of it in my character sheet.
I think we keep that.
Yeah, totally.
I think we keep that for the dark emergencies, not the moderate emergencies. Okay, let's see what we can do. Arfons, what kind of state are you in? Let me take a look at you.
Let's gloss over. I don't want to like monitor Earthon's toughness and stuff like that. So let's just say that you've patched him up, and he's definitely looking a bit more robust than he did. Shall we start? Let's just start on the non-medic, right? What state is Ascarai in?
Ascarai is perfectly fine due to the fact he doesn't have to get close to anybody.
Yeah, that's good. Well then, let's do a bit of work on Anton. So you can both go ahead and make medicus rolls for Anton.
He's cunning, if I remember correctly.
He's cunning.
I don't make it.
I make it.
There we go.
Oh my God.
So that's a
Nice.
D4 of healing to Anton, right?
And that's 4 as well. You're very well.
Perfect. I'm overhealed. I'll keep 2 toughness points in the bank for when Anton inevitably gets beaten down in the next fight scene.
Yeah. So then 2 rolls on Steo as well.
Oof.
Hey, I make it.
Okay, I haven't rolled yet. Let's see how Anton does.
Oh yeah, because you could save yours, right? For
yeah.
working on yourself later in the day. Yeah,
That's the plan.
So what's 4?
Nice.
Like it. We may yet survive.
You guys are getting good at this healing malarkey.
Yeah.
That's
so yeah,
9%.
like what? Let's just. I don't want to craft a whole scene out of this, but where are we doing this healing? Are we kind of going to that town gate where they left and just kind of like do it?
I'd say we're just
taking care of yourselves, or
I think it's just in the 10 to 2 before we set out was kind of where it was in my mind.
sure, you're making those much worse odds. So 5 to 2, but yes.
It was the 12 to 2. I am dithering towards correct.
Yeah, it's slowly getting there. I think what you need that nice white wall that we can see there above your little friend. Just paint 5 to 2 on there. Maybe in your own blood. Whatever, and that'll help us. So, what if any plan do you have, or is it literally a case of you're going to the North Gate where you've been told they've left and trying to pick up a trail?
That's it. We'd have a vague description of how to get there.
A very vague description of the rough direction, but Milando was in absolutely no fit state to give you detailed instructions, let alone guide you.
Apologies if I missed this, but do we have our old weapons back? I know that we found like
yes,
the chest.
you did.
Yeah.
You did. You found all of your possessions were behind the undead and now dead mayor's desk.
That's great. I guess we're setting off, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, the only guy who I think would know exactly where the mine is the mason, who's in a bit of a state. The mine's probably going to have a good enough trail to it, unless it's been abandoned a very long time. So, like, we can ask if there's a guard at the gate. We can ask them, unless they're Blue Company, in which case we can shiv them. But otherwise, I say we just make for it.
I can't remember if I did give this dialogue to Milando, but I'm happy retconning it in or saying he said it like in a slur as you were gathered outside the town hall. But let's say he did refer to it as a very old, disused mine.
Ugh.
Right.
The mages might have a map.
Which, of course, again, jars with that whole Ambria's only been here for 15 years thing. But we'll just hand wave it. It's fine. It's an old barbarian mine.
Oh yeah, that'll do.
Could be hundreds of years. With that in mind, are you just going to try and pick up a trail? Presumably, if he left with a bunch of people, there'll be a trail.
Yeah. Okay, lads, do we go to the Mage Tower and see if they have a map, or do we just go and find a trail? Askra, are you feeling lucky?
I think we can follow the trail. The Mage Tower also, well, it's Cagliostro's place of business, isn't it? Seems risky to go there.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you head to the North Gate, the same one you arrived at a few days ago now.
All those years ago.
Yeah, and you stride out from that. Has anyone got bushcraft? No. Yes, I think Elle did, but that's fine because Askarai is a tracker. So, how did you actually have a tracker ability, right? It's not just a general.
Yeah, I have Pathfinder, which lets me re-roll attempting to follow a trail or find a path somewhere.
Sure. Okay. Well then, why don't you give me a cunning roll, please?
Okay. That means I need a 10. I get a 14. And on my reroll, a 7.
Okay. Leaving that North Gate, you find obviously there's a lot of traffic in and out of it, and a lot of foot traffic, and therefore there's a lot of tracks and trails here. But not too far north from the gate, you find a very recent clumped and clustered set of footprints that lead off the road going north and off towards the northeast. Kind of a lot of the undergrowth has been stamped down and so on and so forth. Can you give me another cunning roll, please? And you know what? Because you already found it, let's have a +1 to it.
Okay, I'll need 11. I get 17.
Okay, never mind. So I'm assuming we are going off the road and finding this trail.
Yep. Following it as fast as I can, I think.
So you stride off into the kind of the gentle wilderness to the northeast of Kastor. Far ahead of you on the very horizon, you can see the darkness of mountains to the east, which I believe are called the Ravens, and there's various copses of woodland around. There are some farms and some kind of the sign of gentle smoke near a river, indicating maybe a small dwelling place or even village. But the further you go to the northeast, you're quickly reminded that this is the very edge of Ambria, and it quickly gives way to kind of patchy woodland, and then just kind of wild grassland at points, kind of long grass coming up to your hips that you have to kind of wade through, and that does make following the trail become a little bit more challenging. But being as you found it in the first place, I'm still going to give you a decent enough roll to carry on finding that Sam. So why don't you give me another double cunning roll?
Okay.
Or maybe just one if it's good enough.
Let's hope so. I need 10. I got a 2. Nice.
Sorry, I also wanted to say a +1 on that, but yeah, 2 is fine. Yeah, you find yourself having very little problem following the tracks in here. Give me another cunning roll, please. You can take a +2 to this.
Okay, it's about. I'll need it.
You know what? Actually, at this stage, you can just give me you can give me cunning at +2 or a vigilant roll, which I'm expecting you will take the vigilant.
Yeah,
roll.
Vigilant is better. I'll need a 15 on vigilant, and I get a 14.
These tracks are of a significant number of people.
Okay, I'll mention this. There's a lot of people coming this way. Really a lot.
We're going to have to be smart. I hate being smart.
I guess a good number of the Blue Company, or perhaps some of these mask-wearing cultists.
Probably both. Knowing our luck. But at least the Blue Company bleed.
Take a good opportunity to get back at the Blue Company captain, to be honest.
Yeah. How about you start? How about you get a bit ahead of us, just so you can move a bit quieter, And they may have scouts out watching their trail, watching their behind as well.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
a good
good.
idea.
If I see anything, I'll loop back.
I'll do my best to keep Steo as quiet as possible back here.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
That gets a kind of ugly barking laugh out of Earthons. Okay, Askarai, you move on ahead, and as the grassland around you slowly starts to give way to a bit more kind of hillside scrub, as the gradient of the land starts to gently rise in front of you, why don't you give me another double cunning roll to see if you can maintain your hold on this trail?
Okay. Is it flat cunning?
No, I gave you an improvement of +1 last time, right? So +2 on this one.
Okay. I need a 12. I get a 12. Nice.
There we go. You find there is clearly the group is getting tired now. Every now and then you see some tracks slow down compared to the others, maybe take a bit of a rest and carry on. You see a bit of debris left, kind of someone's kind of tossed an empty water bottle to one side. I mean, not plastic, obviously, like a water skin, not a plastic bottle. To one side, and you're fairly certain you are on the right track. And being as you're ahead of everyone else, can you give me a vigilant +3 test, please?
Yes.
Which for Askarai is like saying, can you roll a success, please?
Yeah, I need 18 or less. I get 11.
Okay. As the land starts to rise further ahead of you, you see that there are a series of kind of like gentle ridges, kind of like shallow valleys ahead of you. And from one of these, you can hear the distinct sound of bickering and shushing voices. You're on mute.
How far away is this from where I am? Roughly.
Probably around 30 feet or so.
Okay, in that case, I'm definitely going to stop and maybe even head back slightly to catch up with Steo and Antom and Nerf.
Sure. Can you give me a cunning roll, please?
Okay. I need a 10. I got a 19.
Okay, never mind.
I'll just head back and say there's still a lot of them, but I think we're close. I can hear some voices not far from here.
How many do you think there are?
It's very hard to say. I don't know how often other people come here, but the voices I didn't hear too many, but there's a lot of people who have followed this trail.
Do you want to break from the track and try and get round behind these guys and then jump them?
With the position they're in, you think you could definitely sneak up quite easily and probably spring some kind of attack to avoid them if the trail continues directly on. Essentially, the trail seems to be leading into a kind of larger valley with kind of escarpment of rough shale and bracken at both sides. To circle around that and just kind of avoid whoever is ahead of you completely. It's definitely possible, but you imagine it would be time consuming. But you could definitely sneak up and either have a look or spring an attack. You think that would be quite easy for a given value of Steo?
I think trying to ambush them is probably our best bet. Perhaps they're friendly and are just caught up in the wrong place.
Yeah, sounds good. Given my history with, look, lads, I'm not going to lie, I'm not a quiet man. How about you make to skirt them, and I'll give you 5 minutes, and then carry on the trail.
Yeah, sounds good.
Just point in the direction I'm walking, because I don't want to leave this to chance.
Erfons says, "Well, I'll go with the changeling then." And Anton, stay with you.
Yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Good hunting.
Okay. You proceed forward as slowly and quietly as you can. Once more, kind of slightly amazed that such a small goblin with such a large sword can be so quiet. Can you give me a discreet +3 check, please, Askarai?
Yeah, I'll need a 16. I get 11.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely manage to quite easily make your way to kind of just one of the ridges overlooking where this group of individuals are. You can hear them a lot more clearly now, and even kind of peek around a kind of largish rock to take a look. It appears to be a group of the same goblins that you fought in the town hall, and they even have another ogre with them. They are arguing with each other. And they are arguing specifically about whether or not to continue supporting the Monster King. Several of them are saying that they've been paid, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any more pay. And in fact, maybe they should get out of here before whatever monster the Monster King wants to pull out of this mine is around. But there's an individual who's a bit larger than the others, and it seems like maybe he's the leader, who's saying that no, we agreed to do it, and I'm sure he'll have more pay. But it's definitely, it's definitely a kind of contentious argument. The ogre seems to be on the side of staying to help the Monster King, who, you're pretty sure will probably be Cagliostro.
Yeah. Is it possible to have a whispered conversation with Alphonse, or are we too...
If you want to keep it very brief, yes. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start asking for discreet rolls.
Okay. I'll turn to him and give him a... What do you think? They might just... Sounds like they're on the edge of leaving.
Do you think maybe we can push them over the edge with a bit of charm?
Maybe a very specific brand of charm.
There are, incidentally, by your count, 6 goblins and the ogre.
Okay, I'm going to probably draw my bow and start to try and get a bead on the leader of who's arguing in favor of staying to help Cagliostro. Maybe gesture or kind of signal to Alphonse to get as close as he feels that he can without alerting them. And perhaps wait a little bit until Stio and Anton get nearby, and or wait until maybe 4 minutes have passed, or until I think they might be heading down this way.
Sure.
And then I think I'm probably just going to take a shot at the leader of these.
Oh, okay. Alphonse did genuinely mean actual charm and persuasion.
I mean, I think Ascry feels that he does not have the ability to convince Goblet. Ascry knows where his strengths lie, and he sees maybe we kill the leader and the rest will just leg it.
Okay, sure.
I don't hate the plan. I don't think it's wise, but I don't hate it.
Well, why don't we have Stio and Anton? Are you actually trying to be quiet?
I'm more concentrating on Stio being quiet than myself being quiet, but yes.
I think Stio has come to a realization about himself. And I don't think I'm not kind of singing the distraction song, but I'm definitely just walking toward it.
Okay, well then, I guess Anton give me a discreet roll, not that it particularly matters, being as Stio is just tromping along in infantryman march mode.
I failed, rolled 15. Needed
sure, that's fine. So before long...
Sorry, Stio.
So before long, Ascari, you start to hear like the tromping of Stio and Anton coming up. Kind of, it's not a path, but an easier way up through this this kind of valley. And the goblins and ogre swiftly hear it as well. And the leader of them is kind of going, "Look, they're coming now. He told us to keep them from getting here. We just need to do it, and then I'm sure he'll have more pay for us." and most of the other goblins are they're looking really doubtful about this. But the ogre is kind of readying himself and thwacking a large kind of studded club into his hand.
So I assume that was out of it. Their readying noises are not audible to me, I assume.
Correct.
Can I tell where they are yet, or is that the only?
Yeah, you can probably hear a general murmuring sort of ahead of you. I mean, if you're walking along this path, there's only one place they can really be, because the ridges come up to either side.
I'm going in traveler mode. I am not kind of readying weapons to start a fight, but definitely being the best distraction I can be.
Okay.
Well,
you kind of round a corner, and ahead of you, you can see 6 goblins and an ogre, kind of weapons drawn. But obviously, a number of the goblins are just kind of like, do not look sure about this at all. And
can I pick up on that, or do I want to?
Well,
roll?
give me a vigilant roll, and in the moment, I think it's probably quite difficult. So give me a vigilant roll at -2, and you can go ahead and do that, Anton, if you want as well.
I fail miserably.
I rolled a 1.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's say then that as you approached, Anton, you heard one goblin whisper to another one, Bassa's crazy. We should just get out of here right now.
Okay, well, at that, I'm going to just put an arm out to hold Steo back a little bit and stop him from drawing his weapon or lower his weapon if it's already out. And I will definitely make sure that my flail is lowered or slung in my belt or something like that. And I will just sort of approach them with two hands slightly raised, and just let them know that I'm not there to be a threat, and neither is Steo. I don't know. Okay.
In my head now, Anton is going.
Well, I'm sort of wanting to see, I guess, how they react to my kind of gesture of
they don't immediately attack, but they're definitely not putting their weapons down. The goblins who you overheard talking are kind of shooting glances at each other. One larger goblin at the back appears to be kind of not inciting them to attack, but kind of moving behind the line a little bit and kind of, just kind of prodding them in the back a little bit, yes, stay there. The ogre looks like it's spoiling for a fight.
Okay. Well, I will just call out to them so that they can hear, we are happy to not fight. We are not here to fight if we can avoid it. And I don't know what has happened here, but we can avoid a lot of trouble today.
How many are there in total, Matt?
6 goblins and an ogre.
How much you getting paid for hanging around here? We might be able to match that.
Now that meets with immediate interest from all of them. All of the ones who look doubtful kind of look at Habassa, the larger goblin, who suddenly goes from to... He strides in front of the group. The ogre's kind of watching him carefully as well, and he says, "How much are you offering?"
A thaler each, and we've never even seen you.
Thaler. That's barely anything what the mage is offering. He does kind of a quick visual head count of how many companions he has left alive, and says, 70.
70 thaler.
70, and you can go through here. Peace, quiet we'll even tell you the path. We don't believe in the whatever this monster king is selling. We're just here for the money.
That's
we can
good.
Take money off you and go elsewhere.
It sounds good, but we're saving you the trouble of a fight, so how about 50?
Glances at the ogre and says, I'm not sure we're the ones who'd be saved trouble from the fight. Let's. I'm not sure we need to completely role play the negotiations here. Why don't we have a persuasive roll?
My God, Anton, could you not have taken point on this one?
Well, I think if Antom's going to help and contribute, I think you can get a +1 from Antom, which will leave it at a flat persuasive roll because it was already going to be a -1.
That's great. I still have to roll under 8. What's
Mine
your
is much
persuasive,
better.
Anton? I thought that
10.
was your main stat. Oh,
No.
Resolute, right? Resolute,
this
stunning.
this to save my retirement funds. 4! Yeah! Hog champ! As the kids say.
The goblins say, yeah, we'll do it for 49.
You engage in a brief back and forth with this Harbassa. He's like many of the sellswords you've encountered, kind of much more adept with a blade than at the bartering. And eventually you reach an agreement of let's say 55 thaler.
Oof.
For them, they'll take that money off you, and they'll happily be about their way.
So I don't even have a ghost of that much money.
I mean, you've got the
Symbaroum coins. Do we know how many coins there are in there, or are we just going to say I give them 50 thalers worth of Symbaroum coins?
You can give them 50 because I think the whole point of the Symbaric gold is it like 400 thalers worth or something like that.
700 was the number.
700. Yeah, you can estimate what 55 thalers worth it is and hand that over. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that, and I will be honest about it because I don't want to have to make any scary rolls.
So as you kind of get the money out and start handing it over, the goblins are kind of cooing and making appreciative noises for this Symbaric gold and looking at it. Harbassa's kind of like checking, that it's not legal tender, but that it's definitely gold, and looks fairly satisfied and says, "All right, well then, never let it be said that Harbassa's marauders weren't willing to deal and willing to live and let live."
You're good lads. I'll remember that name. Harbassa's Marauders.
All right. He kind of looks up at the ogre and says, "Not today." And the ogre kind of takes a handful of gold from what you've handed over and strides off, and the goblins kind of follow kind of behind Harbassa, kind of striding quite proudly for someone who's just taken pay to betray someone's trust.
Yeah.
And the other goblins kind of like happily as they go past you, kind of like a couple of them give a bit of a tip of the cap to you.
I do want to call out before they go. It's like, what's the road ahead like? Any way we can catch anything we should know?
Harbassa turns as the goblins and the ogre kind of proceed past him and kind of pitches his voice a bit so you can hear him and says, "They're all up at the mine now. There might be some of them guarding outside. I don't know. I think there were maybe 20 of them, something like that."
Prios teats. Thanks.
He nods and they walk off, roughly back in the direction of Kastor.
It was expensive diplomacy. Ascarai?
Come down from wherever I was waiting. Oh, you bought them off. That was more or less bloody than what I had anticipated.
Did not want to have to kill 2 trolls in one day. Oh, hate it though. That's my full plate armor walking down that road.
There's
okay
on that chest, luckily.
So 20 people ahead, give or take. We're still going to have to be clever.
Yeah, and one of them is a mage of something.
Yeah. Sorcerer, I think, is the proper word now, lad. Okay, do you want to get on ahead and keep an eye or ear out? That's probably the last of the groups, so maybe we can make better speed.
Yeah, I'll double back again when we run into any of their scouts or guards.
Okay, you proceed forward. The trail is very obvious now. Now you're up in this kind of more scrubby area. Any kind of damage to the vegetation and the undergrowth is very obvious. And you proceed up and around and maybe walk for another half an hour or so. before you start to hear movement ahead of you, Askarai. Can you give me a vigilant roll, please? And it's going to be like one of those double rolls, so not as in twice. Like, tell me if you make a flat vigilant roll, and then if you make a vigilant roll at -5, but you can just roll once.
Okay, so that's a 15 or 10 that I need. I get a 3. Nice.
Okay. You kind of gently and quietly move across the side of a ridge, and down and below where there is where the trail you've been following opens up into what seems to have been at some point an actual beaten path. You see where the rock face is coming out of this hillside. You can see a dark kind of almost pitch black portal into the side of the mountain, which it's the foothills of the mountain, but it's got props and kind of weighted stone up the side of it. It looks like the entrance to an old mine to you. There's even a kind of battered old remains of a wooden cart outside that's been kind of tipped over. And sat on that is someone dressed in the gear of Tarato's Dawn, wearing a long dark robe, a monstrous mask, and just seems to be sat there waiting. You keep on looking just to be cautious for a little bit longer, and that pays off, because lurking in the shadows to either side of the mine entrance, you count another 4 cultists.
4 in total, like 2 on each side, or 4 on each side?
Yeah, two on each side, yeah.
Okay. I will double back to the group and mention what is there.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1 waiting out the front and 2 on each side of the mine, but at least we've arrived. I think we can probably take them.
Yeah, we can.
Surprise.
We can't buy them this time. Do you want the same plan as we tried before? If you and Arfons want to take the high ground, and we will effectively charge in.
Yeah,
they're going to know how many there are of us, though.
Yeah, and it's probably as soon as they see you, we're going to start shooting or going in, but I think it's probably our best bet. Can't be that tough. Only 4. We've had worse odds.
We've had worse odds, but we've had better days.
Yeah.
Okay. Just take the shot when you're ready. We will just keep moving straight forward until we hit flesh, I suppose.
All right. Good luck. See you.
To you. Good hunting.
See you up there.
Good luck. I'm going to take this opportunity to try and cast my Blessed Shield.
Go for it. It lasts for a scene, right?
Yeah, I make it. Roll a 9.
Okay. Yes. So, Prios Blessed Shield kind of melts out of the air around you with its odd kind of sunspot effect. So we are attempting to sneak up and ambush these cultists, correct?
The sneaky ones are sneaking up. The loud
Sure.
ones are walking.
Yeah,
in.
I think that's fine. So, Askarai, can you give me a discreet roll, please, at a -3?
Yes, I'll need a 10. I get a 15.
Okay. As you're sneaking up on that side ridge where you could view the mine entrance before, you kind of draw an arrow and start to take aim. And as you do so, the one kind of sat on the barrel who's sort of carving away at a bit of wood with a knife just kind of glances up, and you realize that the sun has glinted off the head of the arrow. They see you standing there, and he gives a kind of inarticulate cry and points, and kind of flips the dagger around to kind of try and throw it at you, and we'll go into initiative. So, John, can we have an initiative order, please? You can just put Earthons in at the end, and we need cultists and monstrous cultist.
Oof.
Just need that racked up. But having said that, let's just go with Askarai's action first, because Askarai always goes goddamn first. And I don't think the cultist will supplant you in that. So now that cultist who has sat there has kind of looked up at you, you've seen that this cultist is in fact not wearing a mask. The cultist just has kind of those scales and kind of rudimentary horns on their forehead that almost look very similar to the monstrous masks that the others wear. This is evidently maybe a more advanced and mystically potent cultist of some kind, and the actions and sorceries of Teratos Dawn have started to affect him in an unpleasant way.
Is this the one who was sat kind of in the middle?
Correct, that's right. The one who's kind of sat waiting in the open.
Okay.
You firing at him or just one of the others?
I'm going to fire him, especially since he's about to throw something at me, which seems bad. I will fire an arrow at him.
Sure. So his defense is a plus. Is it a +1? No, it's a 0. So just a flat roll.
Do I get advantage if I have height over people?
That's a good question. I think there is something about an advantage with height. Didn't we have this before where it didn't make it clear if you do with ranged attacks?
Yeah, I think we found that the ranged advantage rules in the book were kind of strange.
Yeah, I think we also had that. But you know what? I'm going to roll. You already had the arrow out and drawn. Yeah, you can get an advantage on this shot. Let's say that.
Cool. In that case, I'll need a 17 to hit. And I get an 11. Nice.
Good. So what damage do you roll?
It's a D10 and a D4. I got a double 1.
Ooh,
That is not
great start.
Not so good. The arrow that you fire snags in this cultist's robe and just drops to the ground without any.
I will rapid fire and fire again at him.
Sure, John. Are we having a problem with the initiative, or?
I think John asked a question about Earthlands.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, put him in at the end. That's fine. Okay.
Okay. Is this going to be a normal shot? I mean, I'll say normal shot.
Yeah. Sorry. Is this your follow-up rapid fire shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Normal shot.
Okay. I get a 4, so that hits, and the D10 for damage. I get a 7.
Okay, that's better. That actually beats his pain threshold. So, do you want to knock him prone or take another attack?
Take another attack, I think.
Go for it.
I need another 15. I got a 2, nearly. And my damage is 9.
Okay. So as this monstrous seeming cultist kind of stands up and with an inarticulate cry kind of points towards you and readies his knife to throw, the other cultists burst out from the shadows around the tunnel entrance, and you just quickly whip 3 arrows, knock them, loose them. The first, as I say, gets tangled in his robes and drops. The next takes him in the throat, and the final one, as he's staggering back, straight through one eye. The monstrous cultist gives a kind of croaking noise and topples backwards over that kind of tumble-down mining cart. The other cultists kind of running past kind of look in some alarm at the swift death of their leader, but then charge forward nonetheless. So, of these cultists, I'm going to say that 2 of them are probably going to charge at Askarai, and the other 2 are going to charge one each at Steo and Anton. Why not? That seems like fun. So they are going to attack each of you in order. So let's go with the ones attacking Askarai first. They're all kind of charging forwards with very rough one-handed weapons. So kind of, swords, axes. One has kind of a long dagger, that kind of thing. Can you give me 2 defense rolls, please? 2 flat defense rolls, Askarai.
Yep. I need 13 for defense. I get a 20, which seems bad.
That is bad.
And the other one is a 13, which makes it just.
Okay. So one of them swipes for you with like a small hatchet and misses. The other one comes for you with a short sword. And that, I'm afraid, my friend, is a fumbled defense at a 20. And what that means, I think that's just extra damage, right? Yeah, the damage is just increased by 3 before armor. So why don't you give me an armor roll for that?
Okay, that's 2d4, thanks to my nice cloak.
Your Lindworm cloak.
4 total.
4 total. In that case, that is... just double check something a second. Yeah, that is 3 toughness that you take. The one with the short sword kind of steps around your dagger guard and slices you quite deeply across, kind of across your bicep as you're trying to get out of range of the other one. Yeah. Steo, why don't you give me a flat defense roll, please, friend?
Am I being engaged?
Oh, yeah, you are being engaged, aren't you?
Have I got my spear?
I see no reason why not. Well, why don't you give me your free attack first? And you know what? You roll for that free attack, and while you're doing that, and their defense is a +1, incidentally. While you're doing that, Anton, why don't you give me your defense roll? Just a flat defense roll, please.
Don't make it.
Don't make it. Then an armor roll, please, if you would.
5 total.
Yeah, they're also wielding a hatchet, and it just gets snagged in your robe, or perhaps even better than that. It's just kind of it goes to hack into your body, and Prios's light spreads out from the point of contact, and they kind of stagger back a bit, looking a bit confused at the hatchet in their hand. So that free attack hits, Theo, as I saw by you gesturing to the camera.
Yes.
How much damage do you roll on that then?
I roll a d10 +1 because I have my nice spear back. That's a 2.
A 2 damage.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, there's a lot of robe snagging going on. And your spear doesn't seem to make contact with their body. You just hack through part of their kind of the cloak pinned onto their robes. Clearly, these people have been buying a lot of very good clothing from Keller.
And I have
so
a
there we
flat
go.
defense now, do I?
Yeah, just a flat defense, please.
Oof, I fail. Needed a 10, got a 14.
Okay, give me that armor roll, please.
Oh, 5. That's reasonable.
It is reasonable, and their long dagger just clangs off your armor. So, now that you're all here and outside the entrance to the mine, why doesn't everyone give me I believe it's a vigilant roll, please? Yes.
20.
I actually make it with a 7. Needed a 9.
Okay. Anyone who's made it, you can detect an odd, faint tremor in the ground under your feet. So, let's go to Steo's action.
Okay.
Jabbing cultist in face, I'm assuming.
Jabbing cultist in face. So once again, it's 15. You said they were +1, yeah?
Yeah, the defense is +1. So,
And then I get +1 as well because of the spear. So that's 17 or less. 2.
nice. Give me that damage roll.
And the damage says 6 this time.
6 is better than 2. So, with that in mind, I really need to just jot down that. For some reason, I'm having a real mental blank today on armor and stuff. 2. There we go. So how much? Sorry, did you say 6 damage?
6 damage.
6 damage. Yeah, your spear jabs out and catches them kind of directly on their sternum, and you feel not so much a penetration as you feel kind of some ribs break under the thrust of your spear, and they give a kind of noise and stagger back a bit. But they are still definitely capable of fighting. So, Anton, your turn.
Oh, I hit. I rolled it.
Hey!
What?
There we go. There we go.
It's good to have this trusty flail back.
Even a shit flail strikes twice a day. So, give me that damage roll, please.
8.
8.
Nice.
That is pretty damn good.
That's better than
We're gonna see another hunger wolfing right here.
Oh
So you've taken him past his pain threshold. Prone or extra attack?
If I roll, if I go for the extra attack, do I have to do everything again? Because the chances of me actually making
I mean, yeah,
the
you have to
attack-
roll another attack. Yeah, but it is a, it's at a +1, right? With the defense.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, let's go for the extra attack.
Sure.
And I think I failed.
What is your to hit stat anyway?
It's accurate, isn't it,
right?
that we use?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. What is your accurate?
9.
I'm interested.
And I rolled a 12. So.
Yeah, you're rolling against 10. So yes, unfortunately, that's a bad miss. So yeah, your flail goes wild after first cracking this individual around the back of the head, and they're definitely reeling and not having a very good time at all. But still up and fighting for now after the second strike missed. Although you know what, there is a silverish blur to your left. And the reeling cultist in front of you kind of gives a noise and kind of slams to the ground in front of you. And it takes you a moment to realize that Urfons has just chopped through his knees. And the cultist is kind of reaching out towards his severed feet in a vague attempt to perhaps put them back on. But you suspect he probably won't be able to do that. So, Askarai, what are you going to do? You are engaged with 2 cultists.
Right. I'm going to drop my bow and get my dagger out, and probably try and attack the one that managed to hit me and did a bit of damage.
Sure. The one with the short sword, I believe I said.
Yep.
Yeah, all these cultists are actually wearing masks. Again, but similar one, scaly with the horns at the front. Yeah.
Okay. Need a 15.
And the defense is a +1, so and you roll against vigilant for your knife work, right? Yeah.
I need a. I roll against discreet, but with an advantage.
Oh, okay.
So that makes it as good as my vigilant. I got a 4 to hit, which definitely hits. And it's a D6 and a D4 for damage, which gets a 7. Nice.
Okay, then. So 7 for damage. So that takes them over their pain threshold. So another attack.
Yes, I'm going to try and knife them even harder. Against a 16. I got a 13, which makes it again. And for damage, I get 6.
6. So this individual, as they come for you again with their short sword, kind of smelling blood in the air, thinking that they can cut you down, they're sorely mistaken. You flick their sword aside and just reach out full length with your dagger and slash twice incredibly hard across their face. Their face is now running with blood. You're fairly sure you've either punctured or taken out one of their eyes, and they're staggering backwards, kind of like flailing ahead of them with the short sword and shrieking in a very unpleasant way. Cool. Cultist time. You know what comes in really useful when role playing these things? I used to be when I used to be an archaeologist, and one of the things I did was battlefield archaeology. You learn exactly where people get stabbed when you're doing battlefield archaeology, and it helps. So I mean, not with sleeping at night, but definitely with doing these bits. So let's do the 2 cultists who are fighting Askarai first. Can you give me 2 flat defense rolls, please, Askarai?
Yep. I need 13s on these. I got a 2. Nice. And a 13 exactly. Nice.
There we go. I mean, one of the cultists is clearly not hitting you because you've just taken their eye out, and the other cultist is somewhat intimidated by what you've done to their companion. So their blows swing wide. Let's go with Steo. Can you give me a flat defense roll, please, Steo?
Looking for 10s. Oh, that's bad news for Steo.
That's bad news, bears. So give me a armor roll, please.
6 is respectable
6.
under normal circumstances.
I believe the one fighting you, I believe I said they also had a hatchet. They strike at your neck at kind of the slightly exposed area above where you are, and just the kind of the hooked edge of the hatchet clips over the edge of your neck guard and just kind of slice. It's quite painful, but not a significant wound, and they kind of yank it away to try for another strike. Take 1 toughness, please.
Oof, that sounded much worse than the numbers suggested it would be.
Yeah. And the one fighting Anton is dead. Or soon to be dead, but they've lost their feet, so you know. Next is Steo.
Okay. This axe wanker.
The axe wanker.
I would like to attack him. Again, I'm on +2, so that's 17 or less. Oh, lordy.
Oof.
Jeez.
Oof.
Is that back-to-back 20s?
That is back-to-back 20s. I've even checked the history.
Oof.
Yeah. So you take a free attack from them, so go ahead and give me a defense roll, please.
7. Finally, I make a defense roll.
Okay. You strike out for them with your spear, but you overthrust. They hook it with their hatchet and quickly try and kind of backhand it across your face, but you kind of jerk yourself away quickly enough, and it ends in a kind of stalemate. Did I add the +3 damage for the fumble defense? Yes, I did add the +3 damage for the fumble defense.
John, please stop.
Have mercy.
So, Anton.
Presumably I'm quite close to Steo, so I could sort of round on the guy that he's engaged with.
You are, although you could Askarai is also close enough on just the higher end of the ridge for you to dash up to where he is as well.
Maybe help Steo, who's
sure,
like peripherally I'm aware of, is in a bit of bother.
Absolutely. So you can get at least initially. You can. I think we broadly say that you can get a flanking strike if you're engaging someone already engaged before they kind of turn to face the both of you. So you can go ahead and give me an attack, please, and that's a +1 from their defense, but also a +2 from the flanking. So that's +3 in total to your.
I just missed attack by 1. I rolled a 13 and I needed 12.
There we go. So yeah, Anton, you kind of rush them, and your flail just kind of glides over their head. This is while Steo and he are kind of like engaged in this kind of weaving, ducking, battering exchange they've just had, and your flail just glides gently over his head. Probably not so gently. Urfons is going to run up to the battle surrounding Askarai, and is going to kind of leap forward with his sword held out like a kind of very sharp goblin missile, and is going to chop partway through the arm of the uninjured one you're fighting and sort of drag their attention away from you, and they whip around kind of clutching at their arm desperately and trying to hack and hit the flipping and heavily acrobatic form of Urfons with no success. Askarai, you are now facing one eye-popped, heavily wounded cultist.
I'm going to try and finish off, maybe get his other eye. Not gonna need either of them anymore.
You say I'm grim. So yeah, give me an attack roll at +1, please.
I just made it. I got a 16, which is exactly what I needed.
Cool. And a damage roll?
Damage, I get 7.
Yeah. So they're thrashing around, desperately trying to keep you away. You reach inside their guard, and with a quick flick of your blade, you open up their throat. There's time enough for you to register kind of the staring surprise behind their mask, and then they kind of topple over backwards and slowly start rolling down the escarpment towards the mine entrance. Cultists, I think the only one we've got with them to attack on a player character is the one facing Steo. So give me a defense roll, please, Steo. Try not to get a 20.
15, which is a failure, but at least it's not a 20.
At least it's not a 20. Give me an armor roll then, please.
Oh, it's a full 8.
Yeah,
Nice.
their hatchet just clangs against your scale armor to no effect. And now it's your turn.
I will once again hopefully try and regain some of my lost pride by making this attack. I hit him, finally, and the damage roll is a 7, 6 plus 1.
7, so that is their pain threshold. So why don't you go ahead and take another free attack, I guess?
Fingers
Unless you
crossed,
wanna
finish
knock them
them off.
prone.
Another 7, and the damage is 10.
Yeah. So your spear jabs out, takes them in the shoulder, and they reel backwards. You take a moment as they're reeling to kind of measure your next strike, thrust out, and I just puncture straight through their robes. And this time, where you hit the sternum before, this time it just slides through like a knife through butter. You feel them kind of shudder slightly on the end of the spear and then drop to the ground. They're dead before they hit the floor. Oh, poor cultist.
Yeah, kind of.
Sure. The only one left is the one fighting Earthons. Let's not kid ourselves here. It's a matter of seconds before they give a cry and tumble down the slope to join their companion at the bottom. And now you are stood outside the mine entrance with nothing in your way. Can everyone give me a vigilant roll, please?
Make
I
it.
make it.
Make it.
All of you can hear the sound of polyphonic chanting coming from deep within the mine. And Tom, this sound, like, you've heard a lot of rituals being conducted in your time. Some are more complex than others. Some are complex enough to be counted as what are typically called ceremonies. Ceremonies are a kind of ritual where multiple individuals are fueling their mystic powers, usually with one central individual as the catalyst, to focus on an extremely complex or potent mystical act. This sounds like a ceremony. Can you give me a cunning roll, please?
Oh, I think I might have made that. Yes, I have. I needed an 11. I rolled 10.
You have learned about ceremonies, not carried out any yourself, but in the course of your learning and your tutelage, what you were taught is that a ceremony will almost certainly fail if the focal individual is stopped from performing their part, or if enough other participants lose their focus somehow. You know by bitter experience that a way one can lose focus when carrying out a kind of very, a focused form of magic is any form of harm definitely runs the risk of bringing you out of that state of focus. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I will tell all of that to my companions, and I will look pointedly at Ascarai and say, well, myself and Steo and Earthons may not be able to get close to the ringleader, but you may be able to do some serious harm to them. So I suggest that is our plan.
If I get a clear line, I'll be more than happy to shoot Cagliostro.
He might have protection. Something else we should look into: how sturdy does this chamber look? Let's just keep that in mind when we get a bit further down. Do you want to take point again, Ascarai?
Yeah, we should be quick. That sounds like they're already doing something.
Yeah, let's do it. You go 10 paces ahead.
So you enter the darkness of the mine, and ahead of you, you do see some light flickering from what seems to be a wider open chamber further ahead of you. And there's also the light kind of pouring in. You're around noon now, and light is definitely pouring in from the entrance. And once your eyes adjust, you can see with a fair amount of reliability. What you see ahead of you is a stone passageway that's obviously like still kind of hacked markings on the wall where the mine has been carved out of the rock face. And ahead of you, it opens up the kind of dark stone into a somewhat reasonable sized chamber. In this chamber, you can see with their backs to you are 5 cultists who are staring down another passageway into what appears to be a larger, wider chamber beyond. They are a combination of the chanting, which is holding their attention, and just they seem fascinated by what's happening, and the rumbling in the ground is also causing a not insignificant amount of noise now that you're getting in this far. You're fairly sure that with no stealth at all, they could be immediately assaulted.
Okay. In
Matt,
that
can I
case,
ask you? Sorry,
Go ahead.
I'm just going to ask about Cagliostro. Because I've seen him in the flesh, would he be considered an abomination or not? Or maybe would Anton consider him to be an abomination?
I don't think he is. He has been corrupted, but it's like there is a point beyond which you become an abomination. Typically, abominations are not terribly rational beings. So you don't think so. I think that's fair to say.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No, it's a very valid question given your fucking holy aura effect.
The limit break skill, yeah. I think we just chiv these guys.
yeah, they're not paying attention.
Sure. Well then, as I say, there are 5 of them, and obviously you can only attack one of them at once. John, so can we have initiative up again? The exact initiative we just had. It's just cultists. Ascarai, what we're going to do, you're all going to get a free attack first before they get any response whatsoever. And it'll all be a flanking attack as well. So Ascarai, I'm not going to ask which one because they're just wearing identical robes with their backs to you. So Ascarai, I assume we're going to fire an arrow first?
Yep.
Yep. So you get a +2 from flanking.
I needed 17. I got a 10. And damage is plus a d4. Is that right with the flanking?
Yes, I believe so.
I get a 5 in total.
Oof. But you get a rapid fire attack immediately, right? Are you firing at the same individual?
Yes, I will. I need another 17. I got a 19.
Good God.
Miss.
Well, that second arrow goes flying off and actually flies into the further chamber and kind of clatters along the floor in there. But the first arrow you do kind of takes one of the cultists in the shoulder, and they kind of stagger forward and kind of start to turn to face the individuals coming in behind them. Steo, do you get free attacks against people you engage?
No, I do not.
Is that the next level?
No, the next level is I basically get to decide when the engagement happens. It's pretty broken.
Right.
I'm going to enjoy it a lot.
Okay. Well, then you get a free attack against one you try. Are you going to attack the one who's been wounded by an arrow from Ascarai, or a completely different one?
A new friend I will be stabbing. Is it a flat roll, or do I get a bonus here?
You get the flanking. There should have been another +1 for their defense as well. Would that have changed your 19 to a hit, Ascarai? I don't think it would have, right?
No, that would be 18.
Yeah. That's cool. It's a +3.
So 15, 16, 17, 18 or less. 17.
Nice. Give me that damage roll, please.
So that's a D10 and a D4. Oh God, 2 + 3 is 5.
Oof. What is with this? With this madness?
Balanced combat.
Sure. So, you run in and jab your spear. You're aiming for the base of their back, but they shift at the last minute, and you basically kind of gore them through a thigh. And they kind of give out a cry and turn around to face you. Anton, attack roll at +3, please.
You are our only hope.
Hey, I make it.
Yay! So give me a damage roll and add a d4 to that for the flanking, please.
Oh, 11.
Ooh,
It's
Not-
reverse lands.
not too shabby. Well, that definitely takes him over his pain threshold. So why don't you go ahead and give him... Do you want to knock him prone or take another free attack?
I want another free attack.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
I'm
want
going
to do.
I'm going to say that's flanking as well. Like, I don't see why it wouldn't be. He hasn't had time to turn around. So another attack at +3.
Yeah, I make it.
The taste
Just.
of blood.
Give me that damage roll. And again with a +d4.
7.
Okay, so Anton has once again gone what I guess we could start calling full Anton. The priest charges forward with a war cry. You overhand kind of whirl your flail in the air and slam it down furiously on the back of the cultist's head. They take a step forward. You swing it around again and across the side of their face. You hear a very unpleasant, wet, crunching noise. And you feel kind of, normally your flail almost bounces off things. It doesn't bounce off, it goes in. And as they drop to the floor, your flail is kind of pulled down with them, and you have to give a yank. And as you do so, it's dark enough in here that you can't see the things that slop and scatter across the floor. But you have some idea as someone who's probably examined your fair share of corpses. So one of them is dead. In fact, let's go ahead and say another one is dead as Urfons charges up behind another one and leaps bodily onto their back, whips his longsword over and kind of grasps the blade with his other hand and just drops it around their neck and pulls. And tumbles to the floor along with them, rolling off up and away from the form on the floor with a kind of semi-detached head. Oh, I don't enjoy this. So we're back round to Askarai.
I'm going to fire another arrow at the one I hit
Sure.
a little bit before.
Go ahead. So that's at it's only at a +1 now, I'm afraid, because they've somehow picked up that they're being attacked.
So I now need 16. I get 12. Nice. And the damage is 1d10, which is a 7. Nice.
Okay, well that is over pain threshold. So do you want to take a free attack, please?
Yep. I got a 16, just what I needed, and the damage is a 5.
Okay, so the original one that you hit with your arrow takes... they've kind of turned and are kind of looking like reaching for a knife and going to charge you. But before they take one step, 2 feathered shafts appear in their chest and they topple to the ground dead. You still have your second rapid fire shot. There is 1 unengaged cultist and 1 fighting Steo. Because the first action of our second round, 3 of the 5 are dead.
I'll shoot the unengaged one. I think Steo's got his man, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So he's the tank. He doesn't do the DPS. So yeah, make that roll, please, at +1.
I got another 16, which just makes it again. A lot of those, and the damage is a 9.
Well, that goes over pain threshold. Okay. So, free attack.
Okay, let's shoot again.
4 shots in a round.
I'm literally going to run out of arrows. Is my main problem here. So that I hit that one as a 13, and I got 8 damage. Nice.
So the other unengaged one is kind of looking around and looks to be maybe kind of pulling a hatchet out of their belt and kind of about to go towards Urfons. When one of your arrows takes them in the side of their chest, they reel back. The other one takes them right through their temple in the side of their head, and they collapse to the ground. Again, dead before they hit the floor. So the only one left we've got is fighting Steo. And these are, we could argue in many other circumstances, I'd be like, this guy ain't fighting anymore. But this cult, say what you want about them, they've got conviction. So, Steo, why don't you give me a flat defense roll, please, friend?
Oh, that's the third tonight.
That is rough.
Jeez.
The law of average is doing a number on you tonight, mate. So why don't you give me an armor roll, please?
Another 8. What? This phone is rolling exactly 2 numbers. The highest
Not
and the
bad.
lowest.
Not bad, and they kind of get the drop on you. Honestly, you maybe you're slightly surprised at the hideous violence that's erupted from the priest and the changeling around you.
Entirely fair.
But for whatever reason, they get a drop on you, strike out at you. But it does Steo have a helm? Do you typically
He doesn't
wear a helm?
actually. No.
No. Well, then it clatters against your shoulder guards. It would have been a rather nasty blow if it hadn't, but your armor holds up. And now it's your turn.
Might invest in a helmet. Okay, here we go. I need to roll less than 18. I rolled an 8. And the D10 is a 9.
Nice.
Okay, well that is and let's. Oh no, actually, don't bother. I just then looked at their toughness. It's past their pain threshold. Fortunately, it's also past their death threshold. So yeah, as they stepped inside your guard, they hit you with the hatchet and it clanged on your armor. You take this opportunity, you kind of swivel your spear upwards, so the haft just knocks them aside and staggers them back. And again, 1 foot back, take careful aim, thrust. Another body dead before they hit the floor. Can everyone give me vigilant rolls, please?
I rolled a 20.
19.
I pass.
You
With
pass.
a 9. I needed a 9.
Maybe in the fury and bloodlust that both of you have shown, you're distracted enough not to notice. But Steo, the ground is shaking as though something enormous is twisting and writhing further in the mine.
Lads, we do not have long. Ascarai, let's go. And Antom. I didn't mean to exclude you, Antom. Let's go.
And Alphonse.
Arphonse.
Yeah. So, you head. There's a short passageway that opens up once more into a much larger chamber. Everything around you is made of this kind of grayish black stone. You can't really see in this light. Perhaps it's granite, perhaps it's basalt. You're not entirely sure. Ahead of you, there are a number of figures stood on a slightly raised area of rock. They're stood over a clear central area where the air is oddly waving and shifting. At the center of them is Cagliostro, standing stripped to the waist. You can see the infection over his body of these greenish scales, and you can see that there are kind of cracks between them oozing a dark green liquid. His face, with its kind of well-groomed reddish grey beard, is tilted up beatifically. And his claws are outspread, kind of clutching spasmodically at the air, as a number of other cultists surround him, chanting with deep voices that almost there's too many voices for the number of people they are, as they echo around this chamber. Gathered further back from them are a scattering of other cultists, seemingly not participating in the ceremony, but kind of watching over them and looking at them. And a couple of them, as you enter the chamber, kind of point and shout across to the others. You can't hear what they're saying. You suspect they can't either, because this chanting and the rumbling is taking over everything you can see. The only other thing of note is nearby Cagliostro, kind of down on one knee near him, looking battered and bruised and wounded and confused, is the form of Isocles, the head of the Ordo Magica in Kastor, who is kind of dressed in his robes, now tattered and torn and slightly burnt, and is just kind of seemingly just not in control of himself and not really aware. Anton, you're the only one with mystical powers, and you know what? I'm just gonna let's just have this. Give me a resolute roll, please. At, let's say, -2.
Yeah, I rolled a 4. Comfortably.
Nice.
You're not sure by what means or how it's working, but you suspect that Cagliostro is in some way drawing power from Isocles.
Oh.
There is something mystical beyond just the kind of the old age and the damage he sustained and the delirium of his dementia that's holding Isocles in place and stopping him fighting back. As the three of you make your way, or the four of you rather, with Earthons, make your way a bit further into the chamber, the swirling air in front of the ceremony coalesces into an orange, red, shimmering portal that almost looks like lava. There is a deeper rumble, and you all get the distinct sense that there is something very large on the other side of that portal. John, can we have the image up, please? Obviously, they might not be, That's Ascarai there, on the right. I don't know the guy on the left, super tall Earthons with a shorter sword. There we go.
Can't really wait around.
So quite those the cultists who are kind of surrounding the ceremony going on have spotted you and appear to be basically dashing towards you with their weapons out. John, can we get, please, just the same initiative up again? You can see that the cultists who are surrounding Cagliostro, they're like the ones at the entrance to the mine. They don't wear monstrous masks, but they are partially monstrous, not as much as Cagliostro, but more visibly kind of on their facial features, perhaps the more advanced or senior members of the cult, but they are enraptured in the ceremony. However, there are 6 more junior cultists like the ones you've just fought who are charging forwards towards you. And with that in mind, Ascarai, what are you doing?
From where we are, could I shoot at Cagliostro?
You absolutely could shoot at Cagliostro.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to try and just position myself so that I'm not going to get attacked by the cultists who are coming for us. And just...
I mean, yeah, you can do that to a certain degree, obviously, but there are more of them than there are of you, so...
Yeah. I'll do that to the best of my ability and then just shoot at Cagliostro. Trying to distract him.
Why don't you... I'm going to apply a slight penalty to this, I think, because he's a bit further away than the others. And also... there are mystic forces at work here, and the air in front of him is sort of oddly distorted and shaped. So why don't we give him a bit of an extra defense bonus? And his defense already is at -1. So I'm going to move that to a -3. How about that?
Okay. So I'll need a 12 total. I get a 3. Nice.
Okay. Why don't you give me a roll for damage then, please?
This is 1d10. I got an 8.
Okay. Your arrow sinks home in his shoulder, but definitely not as much as it should do. Those scales are not just for show. He does not react in the slightest. You're not sure he is aware of it in his current state and with what he is currently doing.
Okay.
Second shot?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a -3 again.
So I need a 12 again. I got a 15, so I don't make it.
Okay, your other arrow flies past the form of Cagliostro standing atop that kind of dais of stone. So, we've got the cultists, friends. And they are, I think that one of them each is going to come for the other 3, and that 3 of them are going to realize this danger and go for Ascarai.
Okay.
So, let's save Ascarai for last. Steer, why don't you give me a flat defense roll, please?
Am I being engaged?
Oh, yeah, you are. So go ahead with your free attack first.
Is it still? Are they still +1?
They're still +1, yeah. Exactly
So
the same as the previous ones.
18 or less. 15.
Okay, give me that damage roll, please.
7 + 1 is 8.
And that's over their pain threshold. Why don't you just go ahead and give me another...
Yeah,
give me another roll.
10 is a success against
Mhm.
18, and the damage is 4.
Damage is 4. Okay. So yeah, this one engaging you, you thrust out and give a couple of quick stabs with the spear. You catch this individual in the belly and the groin. You've struck fairly mortal blows, but these are fanatical devotees of whatever whatever hideous promises Cagliostro has made, and they're still coming for you with a long dagger drawn. Anton, why? Oh no, sorry. Now make your defense roll for against that cultist.
Again, on a 10 is a 14, so that is
armor
my
roll,
roll.
please.
Is another 8. Blessed D8.
Yep, that's long dagger is just scraping directly across your scale and doing nothing. So, Anton, why don't you give me a flat defense roll, please?
No, I'll do 14.
Okay, armor roll, please.
7.
Nice.
Okay, yeah, the one striking at you comes to you with a short sword. It gets, it basically just slides off the edge of your robe, perhaps with the shield of Prios doing its work as well, and you take no damage from that. Askarai, please give me 3 flat defense rolls.
Okay, I need.
Oh my God.
And I'd say, honestly, no, I don't think they'll be flanking you this turn, but I think we have decided that one can reasonably engage 2 individuals at once.
Yeah,
And any more start to get flanking bonuses. But I think as they're just running to you now, I don't think they'll get that. So just 3 flat ones, please.
Okay, my defense is 13, so I get a 19, which doesn't make it. A 2, which does make it, and a 12, which also makes it.
Okay,
So
then just a single armor roll, please, and don't forget your Lindworm cloak.
yeah, that's 2 d4s. I get 7 armor. Nice.
Okay, yep. One comes at you with a small axe. It scrapes. You're starting to get used to the sound of weapons scraping off this Lindworm cloak. It's kind of an unpleasant noise, but I think you're maybe fond of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, suffer no damage. So, Steo, I'm assuming you're attacking the one engaging you?
Yes, please. I will do my best. 15 is less than 18, so that's a hit. And the damage is 7.
The damage is 7. You thrust out again, take them in the chest again, and it's just one horrible, goring wound too many, and they tumble to the floor with a cry, more of disappointment than pain. Anton, your turn. Oh, do you want to do anything with your movement? Sorry, Steo.
My movements.
Yeah.
Yes, I assume there's more coming after this. I want
Nope.
to position.
No,
Okay,
the others
this
are
is it?
engaged in the ceremony.
Sorry, just repeat. So there were 6 coming for us. We've got 3 on
Yeah.
Askrai. I've dispatched 1, leaving 2.
One
One's
is on
engaged.
Anton and one is on Urfons. And then there are a number of others engaged in the ceremony along with Cagliostro.
Can I engage? Can I move to flank and engage one of the ones engaged in the ceremony?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Okay, that is my action.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
So you do that, and we'll come back to that next turn. Anton,
I'll have a fight.
have a fight. So yeah, it's an attack at +1.
Yeah, I make that.
Okay, give me
I'll
that
do
attack.
it.
Damage roll,
Blood priest, Anton.
Blood priest.
5.
5.
Solid.
Yeah, unfortunately not their pain threshold. But yeah, your flail whips out and cracks into their side. You suspect you've broken a couple of ribs. And Urfons, Urfons is going to make short work of their individual, dancing back as they attack and letting them impale themselves effectively onto his blade. And he's then going to whirl round and dash over to engage one of the ones on you, Askarai.
Okay.
So you don't need to worry about them now. Okay, on to the second round. And unfortunately, it's not quite like the first. And what I mean by that is that something is happening.
Oh man.
So let me just make sure I'm doing this right, because I have a little guide here.
Get it.
So
Get it already.
that swirling lava-like portal on the floor with a kind of in like an odd crack and shudder of kind of air pouring through into another place, maybe a place with nothing like air. The fabric of reality tears open across the floor of the chamber, and with terrible fangs and claws, a head and kind of what seems like a neck at first, until you realize it's perhaps a creature that doesn't have wings, doesn't have limbs in any way, rears through its body, a sort of silvery blue, dotted and splattered over with like almost rust-like patches, and it rears out of the portal and gives a horrific, grating, shrieking cry, and immediately starts thrashing around as if in horrible pain. It is attempting to bite and horribly wound anything within its reach, seemingly completely indiscriminately. What is in its reach at the moment are a couple of members of the cultists performing the ceremony. Although Steo is getting pretty damn close as well.
Whoops.
Yes. Ascarai, I mean, you're fighting and distracted, but I think you can give me a beast law roll.
Okay, I think that's just cunning.
Is there any special? Are you at the level of beast law whether you have a speciality of any kind?
No, that's the one up. I got a 9, which just makes it.
Okay. Speaking of lindworms,
I was gonna say.
this is not a dragon. This is a lindworm. A lindworm is in effect a huge warped serpent. There are rumored to be many of them still in the depths of Davakar, but you're also aware of the kind of lore of them, that they were hunted almost to extinction by the kind of the Symbaric Empire thousands of years in the past. You are also aware that you're wearing the skin of someone maybe this lindworm knew. So in general, I believe, once it was investigated, Pagido told you, I think, that lindworms can be somewhat sensitive. They are highly intelligent, and would almost certainly recognize that you're wearing lindworm skin. So, there's that.
Take the shot or take your cloak off.
Yeah.
That's great.
Curses. I mean, at the moment, it's hardly relevant, but still, that is what this thing appears to be. John, did I give you the Lindworm initiative to add to the thing? I think I did. Yeah, I did. Cool. Can you add that in for us? Thank you. They probably will get an action this round because they've just kind of reared out of the ground. But I'll give them an action next time. But Ascarai, it's your turn, right? So you are now engaging 2 full health cultists. I think.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that with even slightly more motivation than previously, Ascarai is going to try and stab these cultists and with his dagger. Probably whichever one. Well,
sure.
It doesn't matter which one.
Sure.
Are they still at +1?
They are at +1, yes.
Okay. I need a 16. I got a 2. Nice. And for damage, I get 6.
6. Okay, unfortunately, that's not the pain threshold. But you leave them with kind of a horrible wound across their lower arm. Kind of, you think you've effectively removed one of their hands, or literally, probably, if they get to a medic. So you don't get an extra attack on that. Only with your rapid fire with your bow. So let's get to the cultists. And Anton, why don't you give me your defense roll first, please? Just a flat defense roll.
Nope. Missed.
Okay. So armor.
2.
Okay. So I can't remember what I think I said the one fighting you has a short sword. And they swipe out and carve a hole in your robe, and more importantly, in your hip, which feels very painful, but also perhaps not terribly severe. That's 2 toughness, please. Steo. Oh no, Steo, you're not being attacked. Askarai, can you give me 2 defense rolls, please? Normal ones, you're not flanked.
Okay. I need a 13. I get a 2. I got a lot of 2s today. And a 19.
So one of them hits you then. So give me an armor.
2d4. I got 6 armor.
Okay. Yeah, your Lindworm cloak again protects you.
But
At least from them. So no damage on you. The Lindworm, as I say, is spending the turn kind of roaring and thrashing halfway through this. Or well, not quite halfway. If it was halfway, it'd probably be a lot smaller than you think it is. But partway through this portal in the ground. Steo, we're on to you. So you're going to make a flanking attack on one of these ceremony engrossed cultists.
I am.
So that's an attack at +3, please, I believe. Or is it... I think they actually might have slightly different stats. Yeah, their defense 0, so it's actually just a +2.
So 17. 5.
Mm-hmm. And why don't you give me a damage roll, and don't forget your +d4 for flanking, please.
That'll be a 9.
That'll be a 9. So, what is their armor? It's the same. So that goes past their pain threshold. Would you like to take a free attack?
So do we think knocking them prone would knock them out of their stupor?
I think so, yeah. Normally they would have to make a resolute roll against damage, which is one of the few GM rolls in the game, which is annoying because I don't have D20 on the desk with me, because I'm terrible at this kind of thing. But I think knocking them prone, yes, I definitely think that would knock them out of there.
Yeah, do you know what? My job isn't to kill these guys. My job's to stop the ceremony. So I'm going to knock him prone and use my movement action to engage the next one. Ideally, moving away from the Lindworm, if that is
that is absolutely possible. Yes. So yeah, with a thrust, you your spear goes full through the shoulder of the woman chanting in front of you, who collapses to the ground and kind of starts desperately trying to crawl away. A gasp of kind of a shocked gasp as you realize you've knocked her out of whatever mystical reverie she was in, and you run around to the next individual surrounding Cagliostro. So Anton, I assume your action is violence.
Yeah, like always, but I don't make it.
Okay. So, your flail swings out and strikes nothing but maybe a rocky wall of the cave as you desperately try and circle away from the individual hacking at you. Urfons, for his part, is no one really sees it because you're engaged with your own enemies, but Askarai, you see Urfons run up and kind of slam in to the unwounded one fighting you, which you would assume means that the one they distracted first has, is probably not having a good time. So, it is, again, we are on to round 3. The Lindworm creature is still kind of thrashing and screaming partway through this portal. Askarai, you are now facing one wounded cultist.
I'm going to try and stab him and hopefully kill him. I need a 16. I got a 7. And damage is 7.
Okay, damage is 7. Okay, that takes them past their pain threshold. So, do you want to do a free attack?
I will. And I got a 3. For damage, I got 4.
Sure. As the individual kind of comes for you, sort of panting heavily with a almost ecstatic look on their face, you kind of move to one side, and as they come towards you, just a few quick stabs into their chest, and they kind of stagger back, still with an odd grin visible under the mask slightly, and kind of carve at the empty air before toppling over backwards and crashing to the floor. They are dead. So the cultists actually engaging you guys now. I think it's just Anton now who needs to roll for defense. So Anton, why don't you give me a flat defense roll, please, friend?
Hey, I make it.
Cool. So yeah, they swing for you, and you step back quite nimbly. Obviously, having robes means you're quite light on your feet, especially when half the robe has been carved out already. As for what the Lindworm is doing, it doesn't seem in control of its faculties still. It's thrashing around more. Its huge head slams to the ground near, but not quite on, one of the cultists engaged in the ceremony. And kind of there's an escalation in the rumbling and the general sense of mayhem and chaos around you in the cave. Steo, your action.
Next defenseless cultist, please.
So that's an attack at +2.
17. 12 is a success.
Well, it's an attack at technically +3, right? Because of your precise on your
Yes.
spear.
But still a resounding success. And that's a 6 plus the flank is 8.
Okay. Are we knocking them prone as well?
Once again, we are just disrupting, not murdering for a change.
Sure. The next one tumbles to the ground and is kind of like rolling around with a spear thrust through their side. The other one you can see is kind of trying to pick themselves up, but not having too much success with it, being both disoriented and horribly wounded. Anton, it's your turn.
Okay, well, I'll attack the one nearest me. And I make it.
Okay,
Nice.
Give me that damage roll.
6.
That is past their pain threshold. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm lying. Oh. Sorry. Nope. Your flail swings out again, and you're fairly sure you've broken their arm. Unfortunately, not the one holding their weapon, but still, they definitely haven't got too much fight left in them. Irfon's deals with his cultist. No one is no one is kind of watching this, but generally speaking, if Irfon's runs towards a fairly inept enemy like this, then you'll see them in a few seconds running in a different direction. So back round to the beginning. So the portal shudders and waves like with like a heat mirage, and as it does so, it widens, and the full form of the Lindworm crashes out of the portal and slams down into the center of the stone chamber, kind of almost between, not quite fully between, but between the ceremony and Steo and Cagliostro and the rest of you. It writhes slightly on the ground and rears slightly in the air, giving a bestial but sentient blink as it seems to be trying to gain focus, to gain control of itself. It seems aware of what is happening around it and unsure what to do. Askarai.
Great opportunity to change that wardrobe out.
Yeah. I mean, yes, but there's still a Lindworm, and it's still has a resource. I could take off my best piece of armor to stop myself getting attacked, but I've also then lost my best piece of armor.
Counterpoint, you could also remove the one thing that might convince it to stay on this plane of existence.
What is Cagliostro doing at the moment? Is he still?
He seems to be still enraptured by this ceremony, but definitely you can see him kind of blinking more sharply and giving slight kind of twitches of his head as if he's perhaps coming more back into his own body.
I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to shoot Cagliostro.
Sure.
Seems.
Do you need to take an action to pick up your bow?
I think I do.
I think you do, because the whole point of quick on your dagger is that you don't have to take. So yeah, but that's a movement action, right?
Yeah.
But
so
that means you only get one shot though, right? Because of your rapid fire.
Yeah.
These kind of things. We're probably going to run a little bit over this week, folks, and I hope everyone is okay with that, both at home and in the room, as it were. But obviously, finale.
Okay. Was it? What is the roll against Cagliostro again?
Sorry. Yeah, it's. I think I said it was a -3.
Yeah, that sounds right. So I need a 12. I got a 7. Nice. And damage is a D10, which gets a 7 as well.
That get a 7, you say?
Yep.
That's over his pain threshold. Do you want a free attack?
Definitely.
Go for it.
Okay. There's another 12 that I need. I got 11. Nice. And D10 damage. I get a 6.
You take the initiative away, please, John.
Oh, acceptable.
So, your arrows slam home into Cagliostro's his chest and his hip, and he reels backwards, and you can see awareness. Like anyone looking at him can see awareness just kind of slamming back into his body. The other cultists performing the ceremony, a couple of them kind of drop to their knees. One pitches over, face plants into the floor of the stone chamber, and the chanting echoes to a halt. Cagliostro wheels around, kind of clutching at the horrible wounds on his body, grabs Isocles by the scruff of his neck, and even though Isocles, even old, is a big, quite powerful looking man, or at least you can see where the power once was, and kind of drags him up to his feet, and holds him almost like a human shield in front of him as Cagliostro Isocles kind of looks around himself, and he's kind of looks confused and completely out of place. Cagliostro's voice echoes around the chamber, and he shrieks almost in a kind of desperate voice, "Margamal, I have power here to restrain you and to leash you, but we only wish to do your bidding. But first you must destroy these interlopers and then wreck the town of Kastor, wipe it from the face of this earth." The lindworm is kind of like bucking and writhing. Askarai, why don't you give me a beast law roll? Give me your cunning roll that you have.
Okay. I got 10. I got an 18.
You have no idea what's going on. The lindworm appears, I guess, to be conflicted, and he's not currently following these commands, but neither is it kind of, it looks to be in no mood, in no ability to be turning around and attacking Cagliostro either. Stio, obviously you're closer to this than the others. Cagliostro is kind of half facing you and holding up Isocles, but also the other kind of members of the group of cultists carrying out the ceremony are kind of climbing back to their feet and kind of moving towards you and hefting daggers that are dripping with an unpleasant looking green fluid.
I'm gonna try and is Isocles kind of in a position where he can fix I can fix a glance to him?
Yeah, I think so. What's your intention?
My intention is to shout, "Burn them!"
Okay. You can go ahead and do that. Why don't you give me a... no, you know what? I don't think I need a roll for that. You kind of shout that out loud. Cagliostro kind of sneers and says, "He's not in a position to do anything." Isocles kind of rears around and looks at him, and then his gaze goes back to you, and just for a moment, kind of everything seems quiet around you, Stio, in the chamber, and you hear Isocles say, "You have the bearing of an infantryman." And his eyes kind of widen and focus for a second, and he just kind of looks around the chamber and says, "Run. Run!" and the kind of the voice that was cracked and weak earlier is suddenly powerful and carries across the chamber as if across a battlefield. Cagliostro kind of turns and looks at him and says, "We are the ones in control. We will not run from you." Cagliostro is looking at the full three of you and Urfons. The run is not directed at Cagliostro or the cultists. And you can see a wavering in the air around him. Heat rising. His eyes aflame, literally. What are the three of you doing?
Probably running.
Running.
Yeah.
As you do so, you kind of run away. The lindworm is still bucking and weaving, attempting to gain control back over itself. You dash out of the passageway, and as you do so, would anyone like to look over their shoulder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cagliostro is kind of like almost kind of wrestling with Isocles. Isocles has turned and kind of has one still large, powerful hand grasped around the back of Cagliostro's neck. Cagliostro is desperately kind of has drawn a dagger from his belt and is just plunging it into Isocles' torso over and over again. But Isocles, with a grim smile on his face, is drawing Cagliostro into a flaming, fiery embrace. And then anyone looking back, you blink for a second as light flares up, a colossal pillar of flame jetting through Isocles' body up into the air, out, consuming the entire interior of the cavern, which is shuddering and crashing, and horrible cracking noises being heard all around you. I am assuming you are running for your lives.
Yes.
Can everyone make me a quick roll, please?
Good. Oh, 3.
What's a D12, Chris?
I also got a 3.
I got a 16. I failed.
Okay. You are older than the others, and it tells. You can see Anton and Ascarai and Urfons ahead of you kind of dashing out. And as you are making way, you can feel the heat behind you. Not only the temperature of it, but the pressure of it, pushing you forward, but not quite fast enough. Can you give me an armor roll, please?
One last 8. Come on, I believe in you. It's a 5. That's still
It's a 5. As you kind of stagger forward just out of the mine entrance, you collapse on the ground and kind of roll forwards. You can feel singes as the back of your hair is caught flame, and you desperately pat at them. Just take 1 toughness, please. There is a horrible cracking and crunching, and the entire mine seems to collapse inward on itself. Jets of smoke and flame bursting out of the hillside as it does so. There is a shuddering roar, and a great further crack occurs, and Margamal the Lindworm bursts out of the wreckage and immediately kind of undulates through, almost hovering above in the air, and then is off over the hillside and away, swiftly dwindling out of view. The speed of the creature unbelievable as it makes for the north. The rest of the mine, having already collapsed once, does so again with the wake of the Lindworms passing, and all that's left within seconds is smoking rubble on the side of the hilltop.
I think that's why it just
Pyromancer
collapses.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop to my knees and pray to Prios, thanking him for the way that he's looked over us.
I will pull myself to my feet, turn to the mine, and give one last Ambrian salute to the Pyromancer Isocles, one of my heroes.
So, I think we've got time for one more scene, right? Let's cut to several hours later when you've made your way back to Kastor. You walk into the town square there. You can see basically the town square has been taken over by the guard. You can see a number of individuals kind of shoved away against one wall, all of them wearing marks of the Blue Company, all of them bound and kind of roughly shoved almost into a heap against each other. Among them, still with a kind of smug grin on her face, you see Captain Tredella, who looks somewhat calm and almost unflappable by the sequence of events. You can see all the people in town you're familiar with. Over to one side, though, is a small kind of line of bodies, a couple of dwarves, maybe a couple of guardsmen as well, who presumably did not make it through the attack on the tower. The first individual to come up and talk to you is Silvercheek, who kind of wanders over with kind of counting sheafs of bolts for her crossbow at her side, and looks up and says, "Well, you look hardly the worse for wear."
We rolled well again. It's a gambling thing. I'm not breaking the fourth wall.
I know. I get it. What odds did you roll, though, Chris?
Oh, God, don't.
Silvercheek nods and says, "Well, if you're ever back this way again, come visit. Although, I've been thinking about branching out, a franchise in Thistlehold, maybe." She turns and walks back towards her den.
Now, who do we bill for the 100 thaler we paid those goblins off with?
100 thaler.
It's 100 thaler.
I don't want to. Obviously, I know we're over time. I don't want to sink into this too much, and we can do a bit in flashback when we come back for the new story next time. But let's just say you reunite with Semmel and Dada, who both give effusive thanks for everything you've done for Kastor. Hopefully, the town will now be able to rebuild, and the council will be able to be reestablished. The Blue Company, at the very least, banished. Although Eliva suggests to you in quiet words that she suspects that the connections of Captain Tredella may result in less than an execution order. Also, you receive a sly nod from Tamillo, the priest of the Church of the Many, who wanders over and briefly expresses to Anton that he hopes you have a very pleasant journey back to Thistlehold, and that perhaps you will have, he knows you have to talk to presumably your superiors there at the church, but maybe some details can perhaps be left out.
I'll give him a wry smile, but also give him a fairly appreciative handshake as well for his efforts in saving us, getting us out of jail.
As you, it's up to you whether you want to leave Kastor immediately and maybe stay another night. Either way, the one thing that is different about the town, as you maybe settle there for a good hearty meal at the Rusty Dragon, a name perhaps with less appeal now than it had earlier, is for the first time you hear the bell ringing out over Kastor, a resounding, sonorous noise that fills you with both reassurance and, it has to be said, perhaps a slight amount of dread. And I think we will end what is effectively, I guess, our first season of Symbaroum there. Mike has to dash off quickly, so thank you very much to Mike. We'll see him again in a couple of weeks, folks. But if you have any comments or questions, please do sling them in the chat so John can flag them up for us. So our usual kind of promo thing that we do, there's links below: Twitch, YouTube, social media, Discord, Patreon. Check them out. We run 3 weekly series, although next week is actually a kind of an off week for a couple of them. We usually have Call Cthulhu on Mondays, Vampire on Tuesdays, and Symbaroum on Wednesdays. Vampire and Symbaroum are going to take a bit of a break while we do other interim systems. I won't go into the full details of Vampire here because I don't want to keep you too late. But Symbaroum is going to be replaced in a couple of weeks by an interim story of Coriolis before we swing in space. It's basically Firefly meets Arabian Nights. It should be really good. We will be swinging back to Symbaroum after that, and we will be starting the Throne of Thorns campaign. Oh, it's a big endeavor. So That will be fun, and that'll be in a couple of weeks' time. That'll be in a while's time, but we'll come back on Wednesday nights with Coriolis in a couple of weeks' time. Specifically, we're going to have 2 weeks off the actual plays, and we're going to start Coriolis on the 9th of June. We don't know what we'll be doing in those interim 2 weeks yet. One of them will be a full week off, probably this next week. And the week after that, we'll try and knock something together. Maybe we'll have a round table. Maybe we'll have, a special little stream where we're just chatting or whatever. If you've got any suggestions for what you'd like to see, throw them in the chat for us, or join our Discord and throw them in there. But yeah, we've had a little bit of time off recently. Obviously, we had last week off as well. But yeah, folks need that. Folks need time off.
We're about to begin Throne of Thorns, which is a hacking endeavor. So
it really will be an endeavor. Hey, gang, the first of these I managed to tune into is the last one, and that's how these things work, right? Yes, that is how these things definitely work. Yeah, irony is the prevailing zeitgeist.
Yeah, that is a good point out that we're probably going to be doing like a little summary / character introduction video, so that when we get started on Throne of Megathorns, you'll have a bit of a welcome to the series thing as well.
Absolutely, a catch-up thing for regular viewers and an onboarding video for new people. But yeah, we'll be doing that kind of catch-up stuff. Probably produce a nice little video with the Symbaroum crew, and so we can bring everyone up to speed.
And if you cannot do without Symbaroum, what's happening on the weekends?
What is happening on the weekends? Well, at the moment, fortnightly on the weekends, on Sundays to be specific, at 3:00 BST, we are running some Symbaroum over on the Free League Publishing channel. The Twitch channel, that is. Go check that out. The second episode is this Sunday coming, which is for the date-inclined of you, the 23rd of May. And yeah, it'll be really good. It's called Fetters of Stone, and it is tangential to, but also canon to, our ongoing campaigns. It's like a side story, right? It's a spin-off. Different characters, but it's related.
Just want to point out, I'm
the same Symbaroum cinematic universe.
I just want to point out, I'm not paid enough for this kind of teeing up double team action.
I need someone to do it, Chris. Cool. Glad to catch the show. I'll open the YouTube channel as well for later. Thank you, Alberto. We really appreciate that. There's VODs galore over on there for you to browse. Have we got anything else, John? No. I did wonder, in typical computer RPG fashion, whether Isocles could be saved, perhaps in the next playthrough. Yeah, well, just go back to your last save point, right?
I was enjoying the chance to see him in action.
Yeah, I did like
fanboy
that.
Action.
For anyone who's interested, I know, I guess maybe some people like the curtain pull back and some people don't. If anyone's interested, the Bell Tolls for Kastor is a pre-written scenario. It's maybe the one I've enjoyed running the most out of all of our Symbaroum stuff, which is weird. The first time I read through it, it didn't strike me, and then I started to get some ideas of how to do some various different things with it and whatever. Isocles in the story as written is just a name and a short description. Everything to do with him kind of being having sort of dementia, and everything to do with that ending and stuff was one of the things that I added. That was like, yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this comes together now. And I realized that sounds like me just going, I'm so fucking good.
No, he was a great character. I loved it.
Yeah.
Good.
I loved when he recognized Stio at the end, and
shivers.
I got literal chills.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Then something's working. Something is working. So yeah, at least I think I created it all. Did I? Or maybe he is he's described as being old. Maybe he is what's it say? What's it saying here? Just says he's nearing death. Yeah,
he's got a lot nearer to it this episode. I tell you.
Yes. Yeah. The only I think the only other things to chat. We've had resubs from John and Steve. So thank you for those folks. Anyone else who has, especially if you got a free Prime sub hanging around, definitely feel free to drop it in. We'd love that. Yeah, but you know what? Before we go, being as this is the end of our first kind of series of Symbaroum, which is odd because it feels like maybe the end of the Copper Crown was like the first series, right? And we've had a couple of stories since then. But it's like the end of our first fully continuous series of Symbaroum, right? Quick questions. Chris, let's go with you first.
Well,
series high point.
Oof. The recent moment is still too stuck in my mind. I have to kind of think about what else has occurred back.
Sam?
I mean, I think definitely Isocles going off is up there.
Works well.
It's up there.
Well,
I liked it.
Wasn't there another character who died emotionally?
I can't think of any.
Chris, I can't.
Do you know what? Actually,
she was
one
around
moment
for a while, I think.
Yeah, one moment involving a female character does come to mind, and it was that lovely girl at Cylinder's Hope who died unfortunately during the final battle. And I did love that final battle.
I can't remember that. What was that? The girl who died at Cylinder's Hope?
Yeah, wasn't there? There was. I can't remember the exact details, but I really liked
Relnara. Was it Relnara?
Oh yeah, Relnara.
Oh,
yeah, of course, Relnara. Yeah, Jesus, yeah. That NPC. Yeah.
No, but
I'm forgetting people dying. Yeah.
That I did really like the culmination of that adventure. I think that final battle between those particular forces of good and of evil and different kind of evil was excellent.
Yeah, good. Well, there we go, folks. We hope you have enjoyed this first series of Symbaroum. We'll be coming back to it soon enough. Like I say, we're taking a couple of weeks break, or at least 1 week's break, and then maybe something random, but we'll see. But we'll be back with Coriolis on the 9th of June, here on a Wednesday. And then we'll do a story of that, which will probably be like a few weeks. And then we'll be back with Symbaroum Throne of Thorns. And it's also worth noting we'll have an extra new player for both Coriolis and Symbaroum. So, enjoyable stuff. Thanks so much to the players, including Mike, obviously. Thanks so much to John for stream managing Symbaroum since the very start. Thanks to everyone who's made it this far. And thanks to everyone who just started today. Not in between, though. No thanks to you. Of course, thanks to you. And we'll catch you again soon. Take care. Stay safe. Farewell.